It's great to have this guy on Inside Coverage because Quentin Lake never, ever takes a day off or a snap off for that matter. He plays star, plays safety, he plays slot, he plays in the box. He does everything for the Rams. Quentin, I like what you said. You said, I play defense. Is that like the best way to describe your job?
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. I mean, credit to really my coaches for believing in me and putting me in all those spots. I think, without them, I would definitely not be in the position that I am today. But yeah, I just play defense. I've been playing so many different spots really for the last 2 years. But I think that's kind of where kind of guys are heading, especially in the NFL. You look at guys like Kyle Hamilton, me, Nick Emanwari, Brian Branch, the guys that can play these different spots. It's allowed defensive coordinators to really scheme some stuff up. So it's been fun. But yeah, I really say I can play any position on the field, honestly.
It's called positionless football. It's always the rage right before the draft. And by the way, thanks for joining us. I forgot to say that. Thank you. Thank you for doing this.
No doubt.
When I say you never take a snap off, I'm not exaggerating. You have not come off the field the entire season. Yeah. The Rams have played 602 defensive snaps. Quentin, you have played 602 defensive snaps. How is that a thing?
I think the training staff does a really good job of getting our bodies right. One thing this offseason, though, that I would say 2 off seasons ago that was important for me was, spending the money on my body. It's huge. Your body is your resume. That's what I was told. And I didn't really understand that until probably my 3rd year in the NFL. And it was, just how you would spend money on any other thing, whether it's clothes or food or stuff like that. The same thing you have to with your body, because if you're not available, your best ability is availability. That's kind of like the golden rule, And I was like, I told the defensive coordinator last year, I was like, I don't really care where I play. I just want to be on the field. And that ended up turning into, hey, you're just going to be on the field for every snap. I knew I wanted to play all 17.
Be careful what you ask for.
I know. Be careful. Exactly. Be careful what you ask for. But I knew I wanted to play every game. But then it turned out to be, hey, you're playing every snap, which was awesome. I'm on goal to do the same thing this year. I just feel like if I'm out there, I can really help guys. It's not just about me being able to make a play. I always thought that too. Hey, if I'm out there, I will make a play some way, somehow. But also, I feel like I can affect and influence the guys around me to help them also make plays, to help them get in line, to really see our defensive unit as 11 as one. So that's kind of my mentality of, obviously want to play every game, but then playing every snap. That's been huge for me as well.
Do you talk smack to guys like Cam Curl's come off the field for like a dozen snaps? Nate the landman for like 50 snaps. Do you give them grief when, God forbid, they go to the sideline and get a break?
No, I don't. Because sometimes it's, they can't control that. There's a lot of different packages that we have on defense. Sometimes, they'll be subbed out just because we have a different defensive package. But no, I don't give, they're in all the time, and sometimes when they're out, it might be for one play in the right back end. So, I don't give them grief at all. And if they do, I know how bad they want to be out there.
Talking to Quentin Lake here of the Rams, coming off a huge victory up in Santa Clara over the 49ers. It's hard to put into words for those who aren't inside that locker room what this rivalry means. Obviously, 2 teams in the division, Southern California, Northern California, but it goes a lot deeper with Sean and with Kyle. And then after week 5, the way you guys lost at home on Thursday Night Football, where I'm told that was as ticked off collectively as a group, I think as an organization, as we've seen in a while. What did it mean to not only beat them, Quentin, this past Sunday, but to beat them the way you beat them?
Yeah, Andrew, it was huge. And you're right. That was the locker room after the Thursday night game early on in the season. It was tough. You could really hear a pin drop in that locker room. It was because we felt like we beat ourselves. We lost the game. They didn't win the game. We lost. That's how we felt, But then to come back this past weekend and, put on a dominant performance, it just goes to show, that we're a resilient team. We're a relentless team that understands, what we needed to fix and also the level of ball that we needed to play to really push us, into the playoffs. Our goal is, this year is, obviously we want to be those Super Bowl contenders, but we just want to show everybody how good Rams football can be. It's not about, win streaks or anything like that. We just want to go out on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whatever day it is, and show the world that, this is the best Rams football that you guys can see. And I think that's exactly what we did last Sunday, is being able to play really good football in all three phases and really complete a game too. There's been, occasions, whether it was the two losses we had against the Eagles and the 49ers, where we just didn't finish out games. And if we were able to do that, we probably would be undefeated, but that's not the case. And last Sunday, we kind of told ourselves, and especially coming out the bye, is how can we put our best 4 quarters together and show everybody this is what Rams football looks like for 60 minutes. And, it was a good one to get, 42-26 victory against a really, really good team and a divisional opponent.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any easier. Now, actually, you could argue it gets more difficult. You get the Seahawks this week. Yeah, you haven't played them yet. You split with them last year. They're everyone's darlings, and obviously you put on the tape right now. You can see why. I don't want to ask, big picture, what do they... Look, we know what they do well.
Yeah.
And we know that Sam Darnold is on a heater right now. So too is Matthew, obviously, get them in a second. But this seemingly, Quentin, is a different Sam Darnold than the guy that you terrorized in Arizona last year in the wild card round.
Yeah.
How is he different?
Yeah. I think Coach McVay talked about it a little bit earlier this week. Just as a team in general, they're a complete team. You look at offense, defense, and special teams, they can hurt you in all three phases. But Sam Darnold, as a quarterback, he had a lot of success last year in the Vikings. They were almost undefeated until they played us that Thursday night game. But you look at the resume that he put together last year, it's like, okay, he was, this is a quarterback that is really, really, really talented, really good. And then this year, you put some weapons around him, JSN, Cooper Kupp, AJ Barner, guys that have been able to really help him. I mean, he had weapons last year too, but this year you can kind of see, you get a full off season. The coach is asking him to do a lot, but he's doing it at a high level. He's moving around in the pocket. He's anticipating throws. He has a great arm throwing. I think he has, the most explosive air yards in the NFL. So he's had a lot of success, and, JSN has had a lot of success too. So I see a guy that's out there confident, that a guy that's out there that, has trust in the dudes around him. And, it's a scary sight. You watch him on film, you're like, I kind of understand why they've been rolling, why they've had this success. They just, the weapons that he has and his ability to put the ball down the field, and they're making great catches too. I mean, that's dangerous. And me as a defender, it's my job to say, how can we eliminate that first and then play everything else? But, I respect this game. I really do, because I saw it last year and I was like, I respect it. But then to see what they're doing, especially now too, especially what he's doing, has been awesome to see. So it's going to be a tough challenge this Sunday for sure.
How weird is it going to be lining up against Cooper?
Oh, I told myself this morning, and I was like, you get in it. So for the last 3 years, I got it in practice. You go against him in practice, but the practice feel is never the same as a game. And I was like, man, that is going to be a trip, because, the amount of reps that I've went against him consistently, whether it was 1-on-1, 7-on-7, or, team periods when he was on the Rams, it's going to be fun. He's definitely, I know he has this game circled on his calendar. No doubt about it. First return back to SoFi, a guy that won the Triple Crown, Super Bowl MVP, had so many record-breaking years in 2021. So for him to come back in SoFi, it's going to be fun. And it definitely is going to be a test, because I know he's going to want to, shine pretty brightly. But, as my job as a DB, especially, is my job to stop him.
Yeah, let's unpack that. Because everyone, any player that is told, I mean, for better or for worse, we don't want you anymore. All right. Yeah. After all that you've done, thank you for your service and see ya. Everybody comes back with a chip on their shoulder.
For sure.
I don't know. This one feels like the chip's a little bit bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. Because you kind of heard the stories of what happened, and he kind of told his side of the story in terms of, he wanted to be here. Things don't work out. Obviously, me and you both know that the NFL is a business. But at the same time, is a player that has had so much success, that won a ring, that broke so many records. And then, things don't work out the way you want to. And then you go on a team that now is having success and is in the same division too. That's a pretty big storyline, coming back to play the Rams back in SoFi. So I, like you said, I definitely think he has a big chip on his shoulder. So it's going to be a good challenge. He's a fantastic player. And when he was on the Rams, he was a fantastic teammate. So, respect this game to the utmost, but at the same time, I got a job to do too. And at the end of the day, we want to come out of SoFi with a win.
And let me just put a button on that by saying, fantastic dude off the field. Did stuff with him and Anna. I did in the community here for a number of years and loved them both. And I wish it ended differently, truly. We all wish it ended differently. I was happy that, before this one, he had a big game last week. Good for him. Mm-hmm. Like, it's good to see him get back on the field. It's good to see him make plays again. I'm looking forward to it. And to make it even better, I mean, this game means something. They're playing great. Yeah. You guys are playing great. It's for the top of the division. Heck, it's for the top of the NFC. Yeah. Even though the Eagles won last night in that ugly game. Yeah. So circle it. Let's get to Matthew real quick. You face him every day in practice. You see the no-look stuff in practice. You see what he does. You see the heater he's on. Mm-hmm. 3 touchdowns every week. The guy's insane. Whether it's to wideouts, whether it's to every tight end, all the tight ends are eating. Have you ever, Quentin Lake, seen a quarterback on a heater like this?
I haven't, no. I really haven't. And it's interesting because all the stuff that people are seeing now, whether it's the no-looks and, him throwing at different arm angles and him throwing touchdown passes to Devontae, I get the behind the scenes every day. I get the behind the scenes of what that looks like on a day-to-day basis. And people think like, oh, is he just doing no looks in the game? No, he does it all the time in practice. It happened to me a couple of weeks ago. He got me, and it's funny because I just feel like he's not underrated. He's not underrated at all. He's always played at this level. To me personally, he has been a dog. He has been a elite quarterback for his whole career, and we're winning games, and he's playing at an absolutely elite level. But I've always said this, and I said this early in the offseason, he is a Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind. First ballot, is no doubt in my mind, and I really feel like I know there are some great guys in the MVP race, but you just look at what he's done, not only to defenses. But what he's done on a personal statistical standpoint, absolutely incredible. And I know you've seen it firsthand many a time. So he is one of one. And I'm very, very glad that although I go against him in practice, that I don't have to go against him when those bullets are flying live.
You say he's not underrated. It's an issue, really, Quentin, of semantics. And for those who don't know, by the way, Quentin did broadcast boot camp a couple of years ago at NFL Network, probably the youngest guy to ever do it. After your second year? Yeah, after your second year, right? So broadcast boot camp is when a bunch of current and former players, and most of them are veterans near the end, or guys that just retired that are like, what do I do now? Oh, I'm going to learn to be a broadcaster for my second career now. You did it after your second season, but you learn in that, like, how you phrase things and how to present things. And I've always found the phrase underrated interesting because a lot of fans yell, hey, my guy is underrated. I'm like, that's not true. Mm-hmm. Like within the football world, your guy gets a lot of respect. Yeah. But there's a difference between respect and hype. Yeah. And in the media world, what I'm getting to eventually here, we hype guys, right? The new guy, the rookie, the flashy guy, the guy with the social media following, the guy in the big media market, the guy that just played in prime time, right? The guy that the screaming heads want to talk about and have the hot takes about. We'll hype certain guys. And I don't want to say ignore guys, but don't give them the same hype that maybe they should get because, we know they're good, right? Matthew's 37. Kelly gets the hype on the podcast, right? Like Matthew's just doing his thing. And he does, I'm with you, deserve more hype. because those who know with Matthew Stafford.
Those who know, but on top of that, I understand your point when you say, hype sells. It just sells to really everybody. You get a rookie quarterback that's on a heater, that sells. You have a young guy that's blowing up, that sells. But when, there's, not to say that there's a little bit of boredom, but there's a little bit of repeatability when a guy has been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
But then you get a guy who's 37, who's, and I will say this, the Rams are one of the more fun teams to watch. So that helps a little bit. You have a guy that's now in the MVP candidacy, and now everybody's like, oh, like it's crazy to see now all these viewers and spectators are now saying that, this guy's unreal, this and that, but it's been that, for his long tenure in the NFL, he's been tearing up defenses for a very, very long time. So from what I've seen firsthand, what I've seen from practice, what I've seen in the games, easily top 5 quarterback. And he always gets snubbed from these lists. He always doesn't necessarily make it in the top 5, or, he'll sometimes just slide in the top 10. But in my eyes, he's really making a case for everything that, one, people didn't believe in him, but also, two, he's proven the people that really did believe in him, proven them right as well. So he's just going to keep tearing it up. And I have no doubt in my mind these next, 8 games, how many games we have, he's just going to prove to the people, prove to everybody, why he's a Hall of Famer.
If we had more time, the interesting conversation would be, what would have happened if he had, go back to March, if he had gone to Vegas, like where are the Raiders now? What would have happened if he had ended up with the Giants? Is Brian Daboll still head coach this afternoon? Jackson Dart's probably not there. It's all the what ifs. It's the sliding doors of the NFL. There came, there was a week when we're all in Indianapolis at the Combine, we're like, oh no, Matthew's not coming back. And then he is coming back, and then bam, here he is, and you guys are getting the Seahawks. And let's get to the good stuff here in the community, because Southern California is your home. Born in Pittsburgh, obviously Dad was playing there, but grew up in Orange County and went to UCLA and playing with the Rams. LA is what you know, and I know you love giving back, Quentin, as well. Tell me about what you're doing next week ahead of Thanksgiving with your turkey drive.
Yeah, so it's always good to give back. And me being here now for 4 years, you've seen, and I've been a part of the community, and, build some really, really good relationships. And, around this time, it's really, really good to give thanks and to give back. And this upcoming Tuesday, I am doing a Thanksgiving celebration where I'm working with St. Joseph Center down in LA. Donating Thanksgiving lunch and gift cards to families in need. And, it's just a good event to, I wouldn't be the player or the man that I would be today without the people that watch and support the Rams, and the people that support the community of Los Angeles. And I feel like it's an obligation and a duty as a player, especially one being from Southern California, to give back and to show the community, hey, I'm so thankful for you guys supporting me, you guys supporting the community of Los Angeles, and, really the Rams organization. So it's going to be a really, really good time. And, I hope, it will be a sign of, good deeds. It's always good. You do good to do good, not to do good to get something in return. And that's really a lesson I had to learn. And I think this is something that I want to do just from the goodness of my own heart, really to show that, I'm appreciative for the people that have allowed me to get to this point.
Well said. Well done, man. Pay it forward. It's always a good thing. Pay it forward. And I know you've done not just this, but so much with Molly Higgins, the head of community relations, who's a rock star in her own right here in LA with the Rams. I'm glad you're doing this. I'm glad you're having a great season as well. Take a break. Tell Chris Shula you can come out every now and then, will you please? And
I will. Not this year, though.
Yeah, I know. You have a goal. Good luck this week against the Seahawks. And Quentin, let's do this again soon. This is great.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. This was awesome.